the hearth's lasting warmth. Ilara knelt on the cold marble floor of the nursery, the hush of the room broken only by her steady, quiet breathing. In her arms, the baby, Lily, was finally still, a soft, precious weight against Ilara's chest. For weeks, this mansion, a fortress of cold stone and empty rooms, had echoed with the wails of a newborn who refused to be comforted by anyone. But in Ilara's embrace, the cries had ceased, replaced by the gentle sighs of a fragile sleep. The door creaked open, and Julian Vance stood there, a silhouette of sharp angles and colder words. "What in God's name do you think you're doing?" he snapped, his voice ablaze in the sacred stillness of the room. "That is not for you to hold. You serve, you watch, but you do not, ever, hold it." He snatched the baby from Ilara's arms with force that made her breath catch. Lily's world splintered instantly. Her tiny fists flailed at the air, her sobs sharp and panicked. Julian tried to soothe her, his deep voice a gentle whisper of, "Shoo, Lily, shoo, it's okay. Sweetheart, I'm here." But the child cried harder, writhing against his chest, her face red and gasping. "Why won't she stop?" he muttered, a flicker of genuine desperation in his eyes. Ilara stood, frozen for a moment, her heart pounding a heavy beat against her ribs. "Give her back," she said, her voice low and steady. "She's scared. You're scaring her." Julian looked down at the child, then at Ilara. His eyes, the color of a winter sky, flickered with confusion, then hesitation, and finally a deep, weary defeat. He handed the baby back. Lily instantly curled into Ilara's warmth, her body remembering safety with a visceral trust. The crying stopped in seconds, leaving only a few hiccuping sobs as she drifted back into a fragile sleep. Ilara sat back down on the rug, rocking gently, murmuring without thinking, I got you, little one." Julian stood silent, a statue of stone, watching the woman he had just insulted become his daughter's only solace. That night, no one spoke again, but the house felt colder, heavier. The next morning, Julian's tie was crooked, his coffee untouched. He watched Ilara pass, a folded blanket in her arms, a shadow moving through the house. When she saw the old housekeeper, Mrs. Delaney, she was told, "He's not used to people, not since Claire." But Ilara wasn't there for him. She was here for the baby. For Lily, over the next few weeks, a quiet ritual took hold. Julian's attempts to soothe Lily were fruitless. The child only quieted when Ilara returned, her arms outstretched, whispering gently. Julian watched. He listened and he learned. One night, he waited outside the nursery door. No crying, only a quiet lullaby, half-hummed. He knocked. "I need to speak with you," he said, the words heavy and unfamiliar on his tongue. Ilara stepped into the hall, closing the door gently behind her. "I owe you an apology," Julian said, "for what I said, for how I spoke to you. It was cruel and it was wrong." Ilara nodded. "Lily knows what's real," she replied, her voice unwavering. "She doesn't care about wealth or titles. She just needs warmth." "I know," he said again, his gaze dropping to floor. "And I don't think she's the only one." Ilara stayed. She didn't quit, not because of Julian, but because Lily needed her. And in her heart, something she thought was locked away for good began to stir. A flicker of hope, a whisper of trust. Julian's company, Grayson Global, was at the forefront of renewable energy. But his next project, an app designed as a digital hub for single mothers, was born from a different kind of motivation. He wanted to build something that could have saved his wife, Claire. He needed someone who understood the struggles, not just the code. He needed Ilara. He brought her to his sterile office, a place of glass walls and chrome bookshelves. "I need someone who knows what it feels like to be left behind," he said, showing her the project. "I think you're the most qualified person in this house." Ilara stared at him, at the sleek wireframe on the screen. She had been asked to build something real, not to sweep floors. She had been asked to matter. In the small hours of the night, Ilara lay awake in her room, the snow falling outside. For the first time in her life, she felt the possibility of a future where she stayed, not because she was trapped, but because she belonged. The project grew, fueled by Ilara's insights and quiet strength. She was no longer just a nanny. She was a partner, a visionary. She brought the human element to a cold, digital world. She suggested an anonymous forum feature, a way for women to speak without shame. The team, a group of young professionals who looked like they lived in cities where coffee cost a fortune, were impressed. She didn't have to explain her ideas. They felt them. "You've changed," she said to Julian one evening. "You used to stand like you owned the room. Now you sit like you want to belong in it." He smiled, a small, tired thing. "Yeah, turns out you can't code your way out of loneliness." The mansion, once a cold monument to his success, became a home. Julian started coming home earlier. He learned to cook, or at least he tried. Lily's laughter filled the halls. Her first steps a testament to her newfound confidence. The family they were becoming, a strange, beautiful accident, was breathing new life into the old walls. One rainy Saturday, Julian knocked on Alara's apartment door. He wasn't in a suit. No car idled outside. He looked ordinary, human, holding 2 cups of coffee and a bag of pastries. "You busy?" "That depends," she said, taking the coffee. "Is one of those for me?" They sat on her worn sofa, the rain tapping at the windows. Lily was asleep over, and for once, the world felt still. "You ever get scared?" Julian asked after a while. "Of what?" Alara looked at him. "This. Us. The noise around it." She considered her answer carefully. "I get scared when people love the idea of me more than the reality. When they don't know what to do with the parts of me that are messy, loud, complicated." "And me?" he asked. She leaned back, her voice soft. "You make me scared because you see the mess and stay anyway." He reached for her hand, warm and sure. "Then let's be scared together." The press found out. "Billionaire Vance romantically linked to former nanny," the headline screamed. Alara was thrust into a world of judgment and gossip. The board grew restless, the investors nervous. "I didn't sign up for this," Alara said, her face pale but composed. "I know," Julian replied, "and I'm sorry." "I'm not afraid of them," she said, "but I am afraid of what this does to Lily. She's had too much instability." Julian nodded. "Then we do what's best for her. Together." He called a press conference. He didn't offend their relationship. He declared it. "I have spent years building a company and accumulating wealth. But none of it matters if I can't stand beside the people who have changed my life. Alara Williams is not a scandal. She's a gift. She's not here because she wanted a seat at the table. She was a table." The room was silent. Then a thunderous applause erupted. Julian took Alara's hand, not to protect her, but to walk beside her. A month later, Alara stood in a small office in the East End, the sign above the door reading, "The Warm Floor Foundation." She had started her own nonprofit, a place for women like her, women who had been told they didn't belong, who had raised children that weren't theirs, and who had cleaned houses they'd never afford. Her first client, a single mother with 3 children, sat across from her. "I'm not here to fix you," Alara said gently. "I'm here to remind you you're not broken." The woman cried, and Alara held her hand. Julian offered a grant. Alara declined. She wanted to build this herself, on her own terms. "You're stubborn, Carla," Alara's assistant said with a grin. "So are you," Alara replied, and they laughed. That night, Julian found Alara at the foundation office. He poured 2 glasses of wine and sat beside her on the worn couch. "You did it," he said. "You didn't just tell the truth. You built something out of it." "So, did you?" she said. "You listened." They sat in silence, the softening of life all around them. "You know what I've learned?" she said. "Love isn't always about falling. Sometimes it's about standing. Standing when it's hard, when it's dangerous, when no one else will." He took her hand. "Then let's keep standing." And there, in the quiet heart of storm they both survived. 2 people who once came from opposite sides of a door finally understood they were never just saving each other. They were becoming whole.